And wabam, we've got gunpowder. It's happened. It's 250 BC and the Russians have discovered gunpowder. They didn't actually even have swords yet. I forgot to research the swordsman. Oh well, that's fine. Oh, bam. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. It's Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, and I am, of course, the Spiffing Brit, your favourite, strangest, and most tea-loving individual online. It's an absolutely fantastic day whenever I get to return to Civilization 6, and naturally today I'm doing so because a cheeky little exploit has been brought to my attention by a lovely friend called Potato McWhiskey. He's got some fantastic guides on how to cheese the Civ system, so I strongly recommend you give him a look. He's basically me, but Irish, but also not RT Game, or call me Kevin, or any of the other Irish ones. My knowledge kind of just ends there. Anyway, I'm going to be demonstrating for all of you today, ladies and gentlemen, a fantastic exploit which effectively grants you free unlimited settlers and free unlimited workers. Yeah, it's relatively broken and will destroy most of your games. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive in and show off this fantastic brand new exploit, which works in both single player or multiplayer. In fact, I think people are still playing the multiplayer for this game. Oh my goodness, people are playing the Red Death Battle Royale. A total of 4 games running for the Red Death? My goodness, who knew Fortnite in Civ 6 was actually a viable thing? We're not going to be wandering about Red Death. We're going to be trying out a brand new exploit in single player. It works in multiplayer, but I mean, I don't have any friends online at the moment. No, they're all busy playing the new CSGO operations or the new Star Wars games. Why can't we go back to simpler times when Star Wars games just used to always be cash grabs and terrible? Ah, simpler times indeed. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you sat back, you relaxed, you have a nice warm cup of tea, and hey, if you're feeling especially fantastic today, you might have even given the video a like. Let's dive our way into a brand new Civilization exploit video. Now for this exploit, it doesn't actually make any difference really what civilization you pick. Some are of course probably slightly better than others when it comes to this. Now for the sake of getting this off as fast as possible, I'm going to be picking Russia because they get some early faith points. Now basically what you want to do is we're going to be rushing the Pantheon as fast as possible. In a standard game of Civ, that means just having 25 faith, I do believe, and then you kickstart your first Pantheon. Anyway, we're going to be jumping into the game, classic Prince difficulty, bam, all of that jazzy stuff. And whilst we probably won't be finishing the game, I will simply be demonstrating just how ridiculously overpowered theoretically you can make yourself very early on. Ah, Sean Bean narrating Russia into my ears. Is this what communism feels like? Bam, begin game. We're in, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, it's Civ 6, a absolutely fantastic game. In my opinion, I think my favourite entry into the Civ franchise was probably Civilization 3, although I haven't played it in many years, so I imagine my opinions have been completely ruined, considering I actually recently went back and played Civ 4, and my memories of Civ 4 was that it was one of the most fantastical strategy games at the time, and then I discovered actually it's just stacking doom stacks upon doom stacks and the combat is terrible. But hey, you know, everyone loves the game a little bit. Anyway, we're just going to be slamming down our first city right away. Well, bam, St. Petersburg is founded. It's our first city. It's nothing fantastic or jazzy, but hey, it's ours and we're going to look after it. Now, sadly, we haven't exactly spawned in the best spot when it comes to actually farming our early faith points, but don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do our best to try and find some. Now, in order to get this off as best as possible, you do want to try and be the first person to actually access the Pantheon. So that basically means you want to try and get an early faith production up as soon as possible. Oh my god, I'm literally getting bombarded by tutorials for this game. Do you have no idea how many hundreds of hours I have in this? Oh, Civ 6, please leave me alone. Now, of course, in your opening strategy for the game, it probably involves building a scout and then a builder after it, and then probably a settler. You don't actually want to waste any production on a builder because you're going to be getting a very large amount of builders for free, so it's actually not worth our time. Of course, when it comes to your first policy, just go for God King, +1 faith and +1 gold. It's quite useful, mostly just because the +1 faith is actually going to allow us to get towards our first religion. And of course, now you can see we're at the stage of the game where the game wants me to actually make my first settler. However, as I am fully aware of what I'm going to be doing, another settler here is actually a bad idea. I probably want to make myself a new warrior because I'm actually going to be needing something to defend me. Oh, we gained a free builder unit. Great. That's probably actually the least important thing to get at this moment in time, but fine. Thank you, game. I'll take it and just expend it on some farms. No problem, game. Now, the strategy we're also going to be doing is basically a surefire way of guaranteeing a golden age in the first part of the game, and it's also most likely going to actually catapult you into a situation where your snowball is just much better than everyone else's. You see, in Civilization 6, the entire meta is mostly built around effectively a limitation combination of time and production. So there's only so much you can do in one turn, and you basically need to make sure that you make the right decision for every single turn, else you've effectively wasted time in the future. Oh, and bam, we have located Scotland. Great. It's an honor to meet you. Pretty sure it's illegal for me to say that. Well met, stranger. A farewell. Now, sadly, even though we're Russia, we haven't really found a good spot to whack down our first holy site, but because of how fast we've managed to access it, it looks like we should most definitely be able to get our Pantheon out before anyone else does. Ah, please accept my people's finest tweeds and haggis. Hang on a second, you're sending tweed and haggis? Once again, this is a mighty insult, my friend. But honestly, tweeds and haggis are pretty fun, aren't they? Oh, wow, yes, there we go, perfect. We just accidentally stumbled upon a goody hut, and that gave us straight away 10 faith. Now that is perfect because that's now pushed us up to the 25 faith point, where we can now found ourselves our first Pantheon. Now, if you're in a multiplayer game, this is where things get tricky because there's no saving and going back if you mess this bit up, but actually it's not too difficult. You just need to get your timings right on your left hand and your right hand. It's not too tricky if I'm honest. And what you want to do if you're in single player, just in case you mess up, simply drop down a save game. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as always, Civ 6 allows you to found a Pantheon. Pantheons are quite cool. There's some pretty funky ones, including Dance of the Aurora, holy sites get +1 faith from adjacent tundra tiles. Very nice if you're Russia because you're going to spend most of your time in tundra tiles. Yeah, there's a load of good stuff. +1 production from fishing boats is always nice. +1 food and production from camps is great. But the two which we're going to be messing about with today, ladies and gentlemen, are fertility rites and religious settlements. You see, there is a slight mismatch in the game's coordination, as we have two Pantheons here which can both be exploited. Fertility rites, when selected and founded as your Pantheon, basically increase city growth for the rest of the game by 10%, but also it spawns a builder in your capital. If you have religious settlements, however, when chosen you gain a free settler in your capital, and border expansion rates are 15% faster, meaning your borders just keep going out and out and out, and you can harvest more resources. It's quite a nice little one to have, although generally most are kind of steered clear of due to other benefits you can get from getting some nice early production in, but there's honestly nothing wrong with getting a free settler this early in the game. The issue is by the time most players access their first Pantheon, they're already training their first settler. But this is where we have a little bit of a strange interaction. You see, when I hit the found Pantheon button, there's a tick, and that tick basically goes, okay, Pantheon's been founded, spawn the unit, and then tick the box which says that the Pantheon has been secured and is in this city. And as you can guess, because there are effectively two separate ticks in process, the tick of the spawning in the settler and then the tick of the founding of the Pantheon, you are basically able to completely cheese the system by undoing it. What I mean by this, ladies and gentlemen, is if we were to press the found Pantheon button and escape at roughly the same time, you are able to effectively break the game. But I mean, don't just take my word for it, why not take a glorious example, ladies and gentlemen? So, let us found our Pantheon in 3, 2, 1, tick. And as you'll notice, bam, we have our Pantheon founded. It says, religion, my Pantheon, when chosen, you receive a settler in your capital and border expansion rate is 15% faster. Fantastic, we founded our Pantheon. Oh look, there's our settler, but hang on a second, why have we still got the Pantheon menu open? Oh dear. Well, maybe we can just get a second settler from it. 3, 2, 1, and there's settler number 2. But the menu is still open, Spiff. Why is the menu open, Spiff? That's right, 2K. It's exploit time. There's absolutely no way to counter this, I know. But yes, let's found a couple more Pantheons and get a few more settlers. So I decided to stop it effectively, but as you can see, it is turn 19 of the game, and Russia here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 settlers. So that means we can have 11 cities. I mean, honestly, you're probably not going to be looking at having that many cities that early on in the game. Now, of course, this isn't the most efficient way of doing things. Oh, no, 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 no. There's a much more efficient way of setting up these cheese Pantheons. So bam, we're back at when the exploit just started. Now, if you were looking quite closely, you'll have noticed every time you found a Pantheon, it actually costs you 25 faith points. That's because you need 25 faith just to basically get up to the point where you can do the Pantheon. This does, however, mean that every time we pull off this exploit, we lose 25 faith points. Now, that might sound actually pretty rough because theoretically by the end of this exploit, we could actually be at like minus 600 faith points, but you have to remember, we're effectively getting a free settler for 25 faith. Yeah, I'm just saying, buying a settler for 25 faith is a great deal, but by the time you could actually probably pull that off, you're probably on about turn 150 of this game. So being able to buy settlers almost as early as about turn 15, I think you could probably pull this off, is absolutely ridiculous. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's see just how many perfect settlers we can get. So I've spawned in 17 settlers. That should be more cities than I'll actually ever need, but of course, what goes great with a settler? Well, it's of course a builder to go along with it to make sure the city's set up almost perfectly upon arrival. So yes, let's do that as well. And bam, we have 9 builders to go along and help out our settlers. We've created a bit of a mess graphically on the map, but you know, our intentions were good. Right, let's send our first settler off to go settle a city, and then our second settler can go over here and settle a city. Honestly, it doesn't particularly matter if all of these settlers get caught by barbarians, because at the end of the day, there's more settlers where that came from. Good God, there's just so many settlers. I'm kind of just scouting with a bunch of settlers. I know I'm going to lose a ton of them to all of these barbarians, but honestly, it doesn't particularly make much of a difference to me at the end of the day. And of course, bam, turn 22, our second city is founded. Honestly, not the best time to found a second city. Could have probably done this much earlier in the game if you really wanted to, but then again, where's the fun in that? Now, you might be wondering, thinking that, hey, these settlers are going to cost a lot of money. No, not really. There's no upkeep actually at all, so don't worry, you're not gonna kind of go bankrupt or anything because of this. This tactic just works, full stop. There isn't really a sense as to why it should work. In fact, everything should say that just having a bunch of cities should go quite heavily punished, but this is actually Civ 6, and for some reason it's not kind of like Civ 5 where the more cities you had, the harder it was to control. Right, anyway, bam, we're going to be settling our 4th city now. It's turn 25, wabam, and then I think we'll be getting our 5th city settled next turn. It's looking like some fun spots over here as well for some cities, and of course the game thinks this is a suitable settle spot, so why not? Kind of just whacking all of these settlers down in really stupid positions, which I know technically don't work, but the game says this will be fine. I mean, this is kind of also a surefire way to guarantee a golden age, for the sole reason that we currently have an era score of 43. But yes, there we go, our 5th city is down on turn 26, and of course it is Moscow. Lovely choice, Russia. Actually, you know what? Let's make it a 6th city as well. Bam, we got Tver as well. And the thing is, because of this, we're actually going to start kind of nudging ahead in science as well. You'll notice that our fantastic AI friend over here only has 4 science, whereas we have 10, for the sole reason that we have such a ridiculously large population pool. Because each of these settlers, you have to remember, is 1 pop. If you were to build this normally in one of your cities, you lose a pop, but as we have them just floating around everywhere, we're ever so slightly gaining some resources off of them. You know what? I think there's a perfect second city to be found right here. Of course, turn 26 and we have 7 cities down. This is actually more cities than I'd actually normally settle in an entire game. Normally I'd stick to about 4 or maybe 5 if I was pushing it, but hey, you know, this is effectively Civ without any rules whatsoever. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I can do political philosophies without any boost in just 4 turns. I mean, turn 28 with 11 culture per turn. This is perfectly balanced. Oh dear God. And bam, I can actually found my religion. Nice. 30 turns in, it's religion time. Let's choose a spicy religion. Ah yes, wiggly waves. Now I just need to come up with some kind of subtle way to indoctrinate people without them realizing. Something that'll force them to make me do something that I want them to do without actually being aware that they're doing it, but they enjoy doing it nonetheless. Oh, of course. Like and subscribe. Perfect. Now, of course, when it comes to our religion, we can pick literally anything, but I strongly recommend, bam, always do feed the world if you're Russia, because if you're settling in tundra, it's often quite tricky to find food to feed your people with. Don't worry, your shrines and temples will just give food to your people. It's great fun. And of course, don't forget cross-cultural dialogue. It's fantastic. +1 science for every 5 followers of this religion. It's very spicy. How it works is you basically just cheese your way into a science victory using religion. We've discovered Mount Vesuvius! What a perfect place to found a city next to. Oh, you know what? Bam, we got a great place to settle our city next to a active volcano. Go, settler, go! We'll be fine, say the citizens of Novgorod. All mountains smoke a little, right? Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, that city's not going to do well in the future. I must say though, this is actually probably one of our best settlements ever. I mean, look at this province. Look at this tile here. +5 science. How? It's next to like a geothermal vent and 2 mountains. That's fantastic. We can whack down a holy site here as well, and that's like +3 and +3. Oh, this is just a great great place to settle. Amazing locations to settle. You know, screw it. It's way too early to get down one of these campuses, but we're gonna do it anyway. One of the issues which regularly occurs in Civ, sadly, is that basically once someone gets a science kind of lead, they don't actually lose in any regard after that. You kind of want to be ahead on science to win on tourism, you want to be ahead on science to win on culture, you want to be ahead on science to win military. To an extent, everything depends on science, and so a good player is kind of simultaneously balancing all of them. And we enter the classical era. And of course we get to pick our actual government. So naturally, let's just go for Classical Republic. That looks great fun. You know what, we're going to whack down +1 production in all cities. Just get that cheeky urban planning up and running, considering we have so many cities starting out in our glorious empire. But of course, because we got our golden age, and considering most AI is only going to a normal age, we're able to pick one super cool dedication. You know what, bam, we're going to choose culture a bit by having +1 culture for each speciality district. Considering we're going to be having a bunch of them, why not? So it's turn 34 and we have 11 cities. So yeah, we've averaged quite a high amount of cities per turn. Quite a ridiculous amount indeed. We're currently rocking a nice stable 22 science and 24 culture. I'm sure if we actually meta-built cities to the same ability which some people can, we'd be doing much better. But I would say at the moment, we're still doing ridiculously well. Dear good lord, this is amazing. Yeah, I think the game's kind of buggered. It's turn 37, we're gaining about 50 science per turn. Horseback riding is a 1 research thing, engineering 2 research, currency 1 research. I think we're just gonna steam ahead, considering Scotland is on 8 science. Were they on 10 not too long ago? How have they gone down? Oh, Scotland. Oh well, let's recruit our first great writer. Got no idea what they can do. Right, Homer, right. I think we've done it. We've basically hit the point where we can just beeline brush our way down the actual science portion of the technology tree, and the AI is never going to actually be able to catch up. So we research currency, mathematics, and then as soon as we get education down, that's +4 science in basically all of our cities. Continue that on to astronomy, and bam, just, I don't know, could build a palace. I mean, it's at 1100 BC, and it's apparently only going to take us 9 turns to work out how a gun works correctly. Okay, right. I see how this is. How long is it going to take us to learn how to fly? 11 turns to get a biplane up and running. Nice. Oh, and of course, 19 turns for the giant death robot, and 19 turns for a thermonuclear device. Okay, game. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it would appear that we have beansed it, so to say. My goodness, there are so many fantastic spots around here and on this map for some brilliant sciencey buildings. Oh, we have just cheesed this so much. Imagine it's turn 41 of your game, and you look over at your friend and you check the scoreboard and you're like, hang on a second, why is he more than 3 times ahead of the next player? And then you take a look at his stats and go, okay, he hasn't really got a crazy military, that's fine. Science? Okay, 6 times more than the next player. Culture? Okay. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, does it? Something's gone on here, and my goodness, is it not just majestic? I absolutely love this game, but my goodness, these exploits are pretty bad. You gotta fix this, devs. Trust me. Oh my goodness, there's a very real possibility we might be breaking the 100 science by turn 100 and try and hit 100 science by turn 50. I'm not sure if such a thing is possible, but if it is, my goodness, this is most spicy indeed. Oh my goodness, we're recruiting so many great scientists and great writers just because all of the other AIs and theoretically other players just aren't actually producing enough great person points to be able to actually compete. I've got so many great writers and just absolutely nothing to do with them. But one of the benefits of also having a high amount of faith but not particularly much to do with it is you can just buy an absolute metric ton of great people. Oh my goodness, yet another great scientist. We're literally getting a great scientist every 5 turns at this rate. This is ridiculous. What am I meant to do with all of them? Right, bam, Eureka for mathematics and 1 random technology. We got military tactics, yes. I'm pretty sure we've already researched mathematics. Oh dear. Sadly, the game's not actually able to create great people which are actually able to match where I'm currently at in the game, so it's created a little bit of a mess. We did it! Oh my goodness, we did it. Look at that. It's turn 50 at the top right. We have 113 science per turn, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beautiful world which I've created. One which, effectively puts us in a situation where I'm pretty sure the AI can't win. I think you'd have to do something quite impressive to actually lose this, considering if we take a look at the good old Georgian Empire over here, they're on effectively 10 times less science per turn than we are. They have fundamentally absolutely no way of winning. Every single possible research in the technology tree for us is just one. That's all it takes, just one turn, and bam, we've got it. 11 turns now for nuclear fusion. That's ridiculous. We can have gunpowder in 3 turns, and we've also basically broken the game considering our great person point production per turn. We get about 10 great scientist points per turn. Scotland is next on 3, so basically that means we poach all of the great scientists. No matter what, they just instantly become ours. Guess what? That's right, it's the Angkor Wat, that one world wonder which absolutely no one builds because it provides +1 population in all current cities and +1 housing. So basically it's going to take 12 turns to produce, but in turn give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 population and 17 housing slots. Now I don't know about you, but that's a ridiculous amount of fantastic stuff indeed. Oh, and naturally we can actually become a monarchy because why not? This is actually absolutely stupid way we've managed to get ourselves up to. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we're close to getting a democracy actually, so don't think we should necessarily switch over just yet. Yeah, you know what, let's become a theocracy, why not? That looks fun. And bam, we've got gunpowder. It's happened. It's 250 BC and the Russians have discovered gunpowder. They didn't actually even have swords yet. I forgot to research the swordsman. Oh well, that's fine. My goodness. Oh bam, it's another great scientist, of course it is. Bam, Amar my friend, come over here. Give me 2 random texts. Exploration and Buttress. Seriously? Buttress? You chose Buttress? That took 1 turn to research. You haven't improved it at all. If anything, great scientists are useless now. I've no need for them all. Oh well. Can't blame them. Alright, we're also going to start converting everyone else to our fantastic religion of like and subscribe. That's right. Yes, do it. I've kind of accidentally created a situation where I'm going to be the only one with any great works of art because I'm also the only one recruiting great writers or great artists because the poor AI hasn't actually had a chance to do it. But hey, it's 1 AD now, ladies and gentlemen. Should we build a guy with a gun? I mean, is there a need to? We've got musketmen and also archers and... Oh, it's still a bit of a mess, our glorious empire. Some of it is so far in the past, and yet some of it is just so ridiculously modern. Oh, and bam! We have set the stage for the industrial era. It's 50 AD, but congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. Bam! We've entered the medieval era, whilst we're also simultaneously entering into the industrial era. Don't question how it works. But hey, we've got a golden age now. Oh no, another great writer. What am I to do with them all? There's just a horde of them. Oh my goodness, thank goodness. We've used one of them up, but there's still like 4 great writers all waiting just to have a go, but there's physically nowhere to cram them into. We filled that entire city up with great works of writing. Oh dear. Oh dear, it's a mega colossal eruption. Who could have guessed that Mount Vesuvius would erupt with a mega colossal eruption? Oh well, that's exciting. Poor Buenos Aires. I'm sure they'll survive. But bam, this is the turn. The Angkor Wat has been built. Oh, amazing. Oh, we also did Machu Picchu. And because of that, bam, all of our cities just immediately grew in size. Oh yes, our population and empire has just become a lot more powerful. Oh my goodness, our expression of colonialism will define humanity's future in the industrial era. That's right, it's 420 AD and the Russians have discovered colonialism. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, I've created art, but at the same time, something absolutely horrific. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's bam, turn 69. Very nice. We're on 169 science per turn, 133 culture per turn, all of this majestic good stuff. We have a ridiculous quantity of cities. I'm not even sure what our population is, but I know it's pretty high. We're starting to have the more dominant religion as well, which is quite tasty, as that's a surefire way of getting more signs for us as well because of how I set up my civ. And this is also with a unoptimized civilization, considering so many of the resources in my land haven't even been built upon yet. There's farms and mines which could go down. They just haven't been touched. It's a bit of a mess, but it's a beautiful mess, and that's kind of what I work with. Was humanity meant to have this power of exploitation? Probably not, but it's a good laugh. Whilst recording this video, I've been sent about 2 emails from various different Russian media marketing companies asking me to do a Raid Shadow Legends video. No thank you. I know some people jokingly say, hey, have you considered just exploiting the game? But no, they don't actually actually offer that. No Raid Shadow Legends video sponsorship actually wants you to play Raid Shadow Legends because of how bad the game is. They just want you to talk about the game for like 45 to 60 seconds, and then they give you like literally the average person's yearly income just for talking about something for 45 seconds. It is stupid the amount of money Raid Shadow Legends is throwing around. Now you might be panicking because of course it's effectively 1200 AD and the Russians are already mining uranium out of the ground. Yeah, it's a bit spooky. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Turn 92 nuclear fission is getting researched. It's exciting, I know. And there we have it. Bam, we can now do the Manhattan Project. Sorry, St. Petersburg, stop building Oxford University. I've got a better project for you. The Manhattan Project. It's going to take 16 turns, but it's going to be worth it. Oh dear, Georgia has decided to attack us because of our low military score. Little did Georgia know, I deliberately built the government building, which allows me to buy military units using faith. Oh dear, Georgia. Well, you're about to discover what that means. Basically, I can buy myself a tank. That's right. We now have a tank against your spearmen and heavy chariot. What is that? That is actually a barbarian. My goodness. Okay, right. Let's buy ourselves another tank over here. You know, we'll buy a naturalist whilst we're at it. That'll be nice. Yeah, let's get some naturalism going. And what have we got to research next? Space race. Honestly, I think we've completed the game at this point. There's not too much left to research. This is exciting though. Oh, I don't normally get very excited to go into wars, but this is quite a special case indeed. Did they steal Buenos Aires from me? That's fine. I can just snipe that back almost instantly. All right, I'm going to use my tank on this barbarian man. Go tank, go. Wow, tank, you take no damage. That's ridiculous. Let's upgrade our melee man to infantry, and tank, go on a bit of a spree. Honestly, we've got more targets than you could possibly dream for. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with the AI? Why is it throwing units into it? I understand that when you start producing the Manhattan Project, the AI kind of panics and tries to attack you, but come on, you can't actually win here. Oh my goodness, right, am I going to be able to take the city in one go? Minor victory, using a tank against the city. Sure, let's do this. Sorry, Georgia, you really chose a very poor time to attack. Oh yes, right, there we go, bam. One artillery shot was all it needed to take down the walls. Go, my infantry, go! The city is ours! Glorious stuff indeed. Right, on to the next one. Right, do we keep the city or do we raise the city? Probably ought to burn it. It's not like I'm gonna really do anything with it. No, I might as well keep it. Why not? That'll be fun. But yes, we're now on 400 science per turn. We've just crossed into the 100 turn mark. So we're doing a little bit better than I was previously expecting. Civilization is very, very balanced indeed. And hey, if you have been enjoying watching this, why not consider giving the video a like? It does absolutely massively help out the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my, the city's ours. Wow, it's really that easy. Go tank, go! Oh yes, Georgia is done for. We've done it. Success. Well, that was relatively easy. Keep city? Well, we can't exactly raise it. It's physically no one to give it to. You know, I think this is enough, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've demonstrated just how ridiculously overpowered and exploited this is. I mean, it's turn 105. We're generating 400 science per turn. If we take a look at the tech tree, this is where we are. This is where all of the AI are around the Renaissance era, discovering printing, gunpowder, banking, mass production, and the caravel. Whereas we are just about to finish off the Manhattan Project in 1480 AD. Just a couple of decades after Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Empire and the HRE was at its peak, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we find ourselves, where the Russians are discovering the atom bomb. It's very strange indeed. But anyway, if you have indeed enjoyed watching, make sure to give the video a like and do consider subscribing to be recommended some even stranger, weirder exploits in video games. As always, I've been the Spiffing Brit. Thank you very much for watching. A massive thank you to each and every one of my majestic, beautiful sausages of a Patreons who make all of these fantastic videos all the more possible. You absolutely wonderful chappies. And hey, if you're sat there wondering what video you'd like to watch next, look no further than this one on screen now. It's been hand chosen by myself to be absolutely perfect just for you and only you. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next time. Have an absolutely lovely day and goodbye for now.